We'll start off. Gil Hawkins has a proclamation here from Senator Weinberg. We'll read it. Gil?
Hi everybody, and thanks for coming out. I have a proclamation from Senator Weinberg, Assemblyman Johnson, and Assemblywoman Valerie Huddle. And I'm going to read the whole thing. I know it's hot, but it really does sum up exactly what Jose means to this community and means to the whole, all of Bergen County and all of this part of New Jersey. So whereas the Senate and General Assembly of the state of New Jersey are pleased to join in honoring and saluting Jose Alvarez, a highly esteemed longtime resident of Bergen, Leonia, and Bergen County, in grateful acknowledgement of his long and exemplary tenure of service to the borough that has spanned 47 years. And whereas Jose Alvarez has served with distinction as the superintendent of the Leonia Department of Public Works, and he has also demonstrated an uncommon degree of public spiritedness through his outstanding efforts as a member of and leader within various committees and commissions, as well as an interpreter for the Leonia Police Department. And whereas the strength and an array of honors awards bears witness to the many accomplishments of Jose Alvarez, and attests to the high regard in which he is held, including recognition of an honorary chief of the Leonia Fire Department and the dedication of the Leonia Department of Public Works in his name. And whereas the strength and success of the state of New Jersey, the vitality of our communities, and the effectiveness of our American society depends in great measure upon concerned and dedicated individuals such as Jose Alvarez. And whereas within all the spheres of his life and work, Jose Alvarez has established a model to emulate and set standards of excellence towards which others may strive. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate and General Assembly of the state of New Jersey that this legislature hereby honors Jose Alvarez, pays tribute to his meritorious record of service, leadership, and commitment, and extends to him his sincere best wishes. And be it further resolved that a duly authorized, authenticated copy of this resolution signed by the Senate President and Assembly Speaker and attested by the Senate Secretary and the Assembly Clerk will be transmitted to Jose Alvarez.
Leonia's proclamation to Jose. Whereas Jose L. Alvarez proudly served in the Leonia Department of Public Works for 32 years, having immigrated to the United States of America from Cuba with his family. And whereas Jose L. Alvarez unselfishly gave of himself to the borough of Leonia for 15 years as Superintendent of Public Works. And whereas Jose Alvarez, known by all the residents of Leonia as a man dedicated to serving others and as a man willing to go the extra step to serve the public. And whereas Jose Alvarez retired from the Department of Public Works in 1995 to spend more time with his loving wife Nelda and their children Pepe, Louis, and Brian. And whereas, in recognition for his many years of devoted and loyal commitment to all of the residents of the borough of Leonia, the mayor and council wish to establish a lasting tribute memorializing the leadership of Jose Alvarez. And now, therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council hereby dedicates the name of the Leonia Department of Public Works as the Jose Alvarez Public Works Complex, and that the appropriate inscription shall be erected at the facility for all to see. Furthermore, the mayor and the council hereby recognize and honor the 32 years of service dedicated to the borough of Leonia. Thank you.
You're here.
Now, I would like to tell one Jose Alvarez story, as there are many. Oh, I think it was about 30 or 35 years ago, the FBI operated a sting operation in the county of Bergen. They went around to all the DPW heads and offered them bribes and kickbacks that they purchased materials from. Well, they went to 25 different towns. 24 of the superintendents accepted bribes and kickbacks. Only one did not, and that's the man.
Yeah.
Now, when I read the paper that day about this sting operation, it said that Jose politely asked the man to leave his office. Now, there was a DPW worker standing outside that door. He has a slightly different version. He said, Jose said, please get the blank, 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 blank out of my office before I blank, blank, blank you. I don't know which is the correct way it happened, but I'll say this. I'm leaning towards the second version. Now I'd like to call some of the former mayors here that worked with Jose to say a few words. We'll start off with Tom Ford, who hired him and promoted him.
It's hard for me to believe that 41 years ago in January that Jose came into my life as I assumed office here in Leonia. There were many pressing problems, and some of you may remember that we said we were going to address. And 3 of those were going to take months and indeed took years to complete. Those 3 events were Highwood Hill, senior housing, and the Department of Public Works. We had 3 major aspects of public works that we addressed: personnel, equipment, and facilities. Above all, facilities. I've always marveled in 49 years that I've lived in Leonia how the department has given these essential services to this community under the most arduous situation. Well, anyways, we were blessed and we were able to promote Jose to be the superintendent and the leader of this department. We all worked diligently together in planning this facility that got completed, thank goodness, during our administration of 4 years. And it's been the most gratifying experience of my life to be associated, one of my most gratifying experiences to be associated with Jose. In fact, his whole family. I think one of my daughters, Jimmy, worked with one of the sons in Mashins many years ago. So there are many, many fond memories. Jose has left a legacy that will long be remembered and will be in our hearts forever. For what he has accomplished stands to this day. For this department continues to provide the most essential services to this community that makes for such a wonderful quality of life. I feel at times it doesn't get the recognition it deserves. It deserves our respect, our admiration, and our support. Thank you, Jose, for setting that standard. In closing, let me say I was reminded in thinking about Jose and his family of a poem by Raymond Carver, a very brief one called Late Fragment. Although brief, I won't go over it, but it does address a very important quality that we all seek. And that is the quality to be loved and to feel that we are beloved. And Jose, you are beloved by so many, many, many times. Thank you for all your services. Service for the Leonia.
I'd like to call up former Mayor Robert Chico to say a few words.
I was fortunate to meet Jose when I was a youngster growing up in Leonia. He gave me a job as the tennis court supervisor. He had an incredible work ethic, and he shared that work ethic with me when I was a youngster. I went on to be elected to the council in the latter 70s and served on the DPW committee with Jose. It was there that I truly understood why his work ethic was so passionate, why he was such a patriot. Most of you probably know his story, but for those of you who don't, Jose arrived from Cuba on April 2nd, 1962. He left Cuba because there was a tyranny there, and there was no liberty, and there was no freedom. For Jose, his wife Hilda at the time, and Pedro, they came to America, they landed in Miami, and they gave birth to Louis on May 24th, 1962. So Hilda had a long and arduous journey from Cuba to the United States of America. On July 2nd of that same year, their family arrived in Leonia. And many people said to Jose at the time, would you like to wait for a job that would be a job that you knew when you were in Cuba? And he said, no, I want any job. I want to work. I want to provide for my family. And we were fortunate enough to provide him with that job in the DPW department. And as many of you know, he worked his way up and he became the superintendent of this department. Jose celebrated his 82nd birthday on April 27th of this year. But I think most importantly for the Alvarez family, in raising their three children, Pepe, Louis, and Brian, who are here today, is when we all celebrated their 50th anniversary here in America. It was an incredible feat for the Alvarez family. I will share just a couple of stories with you, because these stories are based on Jose's commitment. His commitment that people know about, his love of this town, his honesty, his integrity, his hard work ethic, his care. There wasn't anyone in the community who was inconsequential to Jose. Anything that had to be done, Jose took it upon himself to do that. The most ironic twist to all of this is when you look around and see all of the emergency departments here to give him praise and to thank him for his contributions. That's what Jose was about. He wasn't just doing the DPW. He wasn't just going after hours to make sure that people were taken care of. He was interpreting to the police department, taking care of issues with people who couldn't communicate their concerns to a law enforcement. He was busy with the fire department, assisting them in becoming an honorary chief. He was doing everything and anything that we all have taught our children to do. He was the example for his family. And all of them are very successful today. So they saw what Jose and Hilda provided for them. I had one occasion as mayor. There was a crisis for the borough. And Jose was with me that entire time. I don't know if he slept that week. It was Hurricane Gloria. It hit Leonia like a menace. It knocked trees down. It destroyed cars and buildings. People couldn't get out of their driveways. Jose was out the entire period, that entire week. I don't know if he ever slept. Making sure debris was moved, people were safe, people had access to emergency vehicles, that ambulances could get all the other residents to the hospital. It was a tough time for all of us. And Jose was always there and will always be there. So to you, Jose and Hilda, from my heart and my wife's heart, Kate, who's here with me today, we thank you for your contributions to the town that make me feel proud to be called and to still remain in one's life.
I'd like to call the mayor, Mary Hepburn, to say a few words.
Thank you, John. It does my heart so good to see not only people who go back to the very first day that Jose arrived in Leonia, but people from every department, whether you're in the department now or have been, whether Jose touched your life in the capacity of your work here or in your personal life, because those of us who know Jose know that he was everywhere for everyone at any time. When I first met Jose, it really had nothing to do with my political life. I was living in an apartment on Fort Lee Road. I was the mother of a young infant and a 4-year-old daughter, and the apartment was having real problems. And one day, the sewer backed up into the basement. And I didn't know at the time who to turn to, what to do. And the next thing I know, Jose, I wish I could see, there he is, shows up, and I didn't know at first who he was. And when he said to me, "Don't worry, sweetheart, I'm going to take care of everything." And I was in tears, not knowing where to turn. I'm a single mom going, "Is anybody going to help me?" And it was Jose, all those years ago. And that was my first meeting with Jose. The next time I really, other than seeing him through town, was when I decided to run for my first term on the council. And who should be running against me but Jose, all right? And worse than that, he was running on a ticket with Jim Tappan. So I figured, no way this is happening. So when it did, and I was very grateful that it did, the first people to come to congratulate me was Jose and Jim. And Jose said to me, "If it couldn't be me, I'm glad it was you." And I said to Jose, "If it couldn't be me, I would hope it would be you." We continued to work together, even though by that time Tony Saida had become the superintendent. I always turned to Jose for, advice about certain things. I've laughed with Jose, I've cried with Jose, I've danced with Jose at that 50th anniversary. Jose is a person, as Robin Pacheco had mentioned, he represents an American dream. This is a man who had a position in Cuba that most of us living in this country would have been, so proud to have. And when he had to flee with his wife and babies, he said, "I just want a job." And he could have stayed happy with that job. He loved his job. Whatever job Jose has ever had, he's given it 100%. He's always done his best. But no, he didn't stay there. He worked his way up to become the superintendent. And when it was time for me to run for mayor, Jose came to me and said, "I know exactly what the poster will say." I said, "Oh, good, Jose, because I'm just struggling. What do you think?" And he said, "Please vote for my girlfriend." I came to find out, I thought I was his only girlfriend, but I've come to find out Jose has a lot of girlfriends. And finally, behind or next to every great man is a woman. And Ilda, you have been such a supporter of your husband, of the borough, of your family. And so we want to thank you too for all you've done as well.
Jose, it's a great honor for me to be here with you. And before we close this off and have all your friends come to see you.
I'll be very brief.
Jose.
This is a small token of our appreciation for everything that Jose did for us over the years. As a lot of you know, Jose and Phil Choi were our two interpreters for many years before we hired Sihun, Eddie, and Maria. And you need an interpreter. It's never at 3 o'clock on a Friday. It's always at 3 o'clock in the morning. And Jose and Phil would come out at all hours of the night and for many hours to help us out because we didn't have the language skills in order to process whatever case we were working on. And those he was never compensated for that. He gave that time freely to the borough police department. And for that, we're very, very grateful. It will read, Jose Alvarez, one of Leonia's finest, now and forever. Leonia Police Department. Heather Murphy put the whole uniform together, because none of us are capable of doing such things. So I want to just say that Heather did a great job with it.
I
Today we have one last thing to do here.
Check.
Yeah, an FBI agent's back. He wants to give you some money.
We don't have to check, just check. It's in the mail. Okay, this is the flag bearer. Other one is being, this is going to hang in your office. Another one will be made for the outside of the building, which we will make sure stays clean and polished. To the borough of Leonia, God bless you. FBI agent, he didn't realize when Jose threw him out of his office that it was the luckiest day of his life. Because if Jose had a shovel in that office, he'd still be in intensive care.
With Jose, who normally says God bless America, with a much more tuneful God bless America.
Let's all sing to my brother Knight of Columbus, Jose Alvarez. Jose, this is for you. God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Everybody can come up and say thank you to Jose. Thank you all for
You like to come in? We did. Good, and I'm here.
Turn this way, here we go.